pride. Racing in the grind, couple burning the turns, throttle wide open, feel the engines churn. It's the heart of the league where champions rise, pushing limits in the oval till we touch the skies. The tires screech, hearts pound, adrenaline's fire, lap by lap, chasing that finish line desire. Rookies and legends all fight for the crown, but only one will take the title down. Every lap it's a battle, every corner's a fight. Precision in the daytime, adrenaline at night. The Grind Cup Series, championship and mission, the goal we all crave. Speed and skill define the legends we raise. Racing in the grind cup, we're burning the turns, throttle wide open, feel the engines churn. It's the heart of the league where champions rise, pushing limits in the oval till we touch the skies. From the green flag to checkered, it's a razor thin edge, pushing harder with each second, living on the ledge, drafting on the straightaway, bumper to bumper. A split second mistake and you're going under. From the green flag to checkered, it's a razor thin edge, pushing harder with each second, living on the ledge, drafting on the straightaway, bumper to bumper. A split second mistake and you're going under. Pit stops, time, perfect strategy in hand. Every driver, every team takes a bold stand. In the world of esports, this is where we collide. The Grind Cup unites us with passion and pride. Racing in the Grind Cup, we're burning the turns, throttle wide open, feel the engines churn. It's the heart of the league where champions rise, pushing limits in the oval till we touch the skies. So here's to the racers, the Oval League's pride. Through every twist and turn we ride or die. In the Grind Cup Series we find who we are, chasing glory and victory beneath the virtual stars. Racing in the Grind Cup, we're burning the turns, throttle wide open, feel the engines churn. It's the heart of the league where champions rise, pushing limits in the oval till we touch the skies. Racing in the Grind Cup, where legends are made, the esports Oval League driving the arcade. Racing in the Grind Cup, where legends are made, the esports Oval League driving the arcade. Under the lights, engines roar, we're ready to go. The esports Oval League with the best ways to show. Grinding gears, chasing dreams on the virtual track. No looking in the rear view, there's no turning back. Every lap it's a battle, every corner's a fight. Precision in the daytime, adrenaline at night. The Grind Cup Series, championship and mission, the goal we all crave. Speed and skill define the legends we raise. Racing in the Grind Cup, we're burning the turns, throttle wide open, feel the engines churn. It's the heart of the league where champions rise, pushing limits in the oval till we touch the skies. From the green flag to checkered, it's a razor thin edge, pushing harder with each second, living on the ledge, drafting on the straightaway, bumper to bumper. A split second mistake and you're going under. Pit stops, time, perfect strategy in hand. Every driver, every team takes a bold stand. In the world of esports, this is where we collide. The Grind Cup unites us with passion and pride. Racing in the Grind Cup, we're burning the turns, throttle wide open, feel the engines churn. It's the heart of the league where champions rise, pushing limits in the oval till we touch the skies. The tires screech, hearts pound, adrenaline's fire, lap by lap, chasing that finish line desire. Rookies and legends all fight for the crown, but only one will take the title down. Every lap it's a battle, every corner's a fight. Precision in the daytime, adrenaline at night. The Grind Cup Series, championship and mission, the goal we all crave. Speed and skill define the legends we raise. Racing in the Grind Cup, we're burning the turns, throttle wide open, feel the engines churn. It's the heart of the league where champions rise, pushing limits in the oval till we touch the skies. From the green flag to checkered, it's a razor thin edge, pushing harder with each second, living on the ledge, drafting on the straightaway, bumper to bumper. A split second mistake and you're going under. From the green flag to checkered, it's a razor thin edge, pushing harder with each second, living on the ledge, drafting on the straightaway, bumper to bumper. A split second mistake and you're going under. Pit stops, time, perfect strategy in hand. Every driver, every team takes a bold stand. In the world of esports, this is where we collide. The Grind Cup unites us with passion and pride. Racing in the Grind Cup, we're burning the turns, throttle wide open, feel the engines churn. It's the heart of the league where champions rise, pushing limits in the oval till we touch the skies. So here's to the racers, the Oval League's pride. Through every twist and turn we ride or die. In the Grind Cup Series we find who we are, chasing glory and victory beneath the virtual stars. Racing in the Grind Cup, we're burning the turns, throttle wide open, feel the engines churn. It's the heart of the league where champions rise, pushing limits in the oval till we touch the skies. Racing in the Grind Cup, where legends are made, the esports Oval League driving the where legends are made. The esports mobile league driving the arcade. Under the lights, engines roar, we're ready to go. The esports oval league with the best race to show. Grinding gears, chasing dreams on the virtual track. No looking in the rear view, there's no turning back. Every lap it's a battle, every corner's a fight. Precision in the daytime, adrenaline at night. The Grind Cup Series, championship and mission. The goal we all crave, speed and skill define the legends we raise. Racing in the Grind Cup, we're burning the turns. Throttle wide open, feel the engines churn. It's the heart of the league where champions rise. Pushing limits in the oval till we touch the sky. Plus a green flag to checkered, it's a razor thin edge. Pushing harder with each second, living on the ledge. Drafting on the straightaway, bumper to bumper. A split second mistake and you're going under. Pit stops time, perfect strategy in hand. Every driver, every team takes a bold stand. In the world of esports, this is where we collide. The Grind Cup unites us with passion and pride. Racing in the Grind Cup, we're burning the turns. Throttle wide open, feel the engines churn. It's the heart of the league where champions rise. Pushing limits in the oval till we touch the skies. The tires screech, hearts pound, adrenaline's fire. Lap by lap, chasing that finish line desire. Rookies and legends all fight for the crown, but only one will take the title down. Every lap it's a battle, every corner's a fight. Precision in the daytime, adrenaline at night. The Grind Cup Series, championship and mission. The goal we all crave, speed and skill define the legends we raise. Racing in the Grind Cup, we're burning the turns. Throttle wide open, feel the engines churn.
ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Flatout Racing Network's continued coverage of the 2025 season for the ESports Oval League's Grind Cup Series. We are deep into the playoffs here. Last week was our second elimination race of the playoffs. We are down to our Elite 8, and those 8 drivers look to take one step closer to that championship trophy as we go racing in the desert at the Phoenix International Raceway. Good evening, everybody. I'm Seth Cole, flying solo here tonight. My broadcast colleague Scott Rankin under the weather here tonight. We'll hopefully have him in the booth for the final 3 races of the season. But it's incredible when you consider the fact that we began this journey back during the month of January when we took the green flag at Daytona to begin this thing. 9 months later, only 3 races after tonight will stand between one driver and being the 2025 Grind Cup Series champion. Now, here tonight might be one of the most pivotal races of this round of 8. Why is that? Because Phoenix may be the only track of the 3 in this round that could be considered a driver's racetrack. A racetrack where a driver has, in a sense, their destiny in the palm of their hands. They can kind of determine their own luck, whether it be good or whether it be bad. Some wild card racetracks await the final 2 races of this round, as next week we go short track racing at the Paperclip Martinsville Speedway, and then it's doors wide open as to what side of the luck spectrum you're going to be on when we go to the high banks of Talladega Super Speedway for our final elimination race of the season to determine the final 4 that will compete for the championship. One would certainly have to assume that the 8 remaining playoff drivers have this racetrack circled in big red circles, permanent marker, win here. Automatically advance to the final 4. That way you don't have to worry about what happens at Martinsville and Talladega in the coming weeks. Speaking of those 8 playoff drivers, let's take a look at who they are, as it came down to literally 1-2 points around that cut line after the fallout of last week's race at the Auto Club Speedway, and these are those said drivers. Trey Whitehead with the victory. That was back in the first race of the round, the Atlanta Super Speedway, coming in with a valuable 5 playoff points. Alan Dobbs with 3 playoff points. Got some stage victories during the course of that last round of 12. And then Christian Ruse, Jeffrey Kleinsma, Noah Jackson, Peyton Holland, Tom Bourne, and Ryan Catalano all survived to advance their way here into this round of 8. But notice that third on down, they have no playoff points to lean on. They all start at the same amount already, 3 and 5 points deficit to Whitehead and Dobbs. Stage points, stage points, stage points are going to be important here tonight in this one. Speaking of those stages, it'll be 200 circuits that they'll make around this racetrack here this evening. The first 50 laps will make up stage number 1. Second 50 laps, up to the completion of lap 100, will be the completion of stage number 2. And then we'll turn them loose for the final 100 laps to see who's going to be able to pick up the checkered flag here this evening. One thing that we do have to make note of is during the round of 12, we only had 1 playoff driver go to victory lane. The Charlotte Roval was won by Scott Rankin. The Auto Club race was won by Shane Tyrion, both non-playoff drivers. So 7 drivers had to point their way into this round. With each round and each elimination that takes place, 4 in each round, the odds decrease of a playoff driver locking themselves into the next round, or in this case, the final 4. Will it come down to points as to who our 4 championship drivers are going to be, or will we be able to see the rather small ratio of playoff drivers to non-playoff drivers be able to break through and find their way into the championship race at Homestead in 3 weeks' time? Qualifying has just concluded here from the Phoenix International Raceway. Looks like Alan Dobbs is going to start from the pole position. We'll have to see. One would certainly assume that this is a racetrack where track position will be important. Phoenix is a multi-groove racetrack, specifically over in the first couple of corners, the lower banked 1 and 2. A little bit more banking for the drivers to be able to lean into in 3 and 4, but normally there's only about maybe 2 viable lines over there. We're going to see them spreading out 3, maybe 4 lanes in 1 and 2, maybe even using the apron, as the yellow line is only a guideline showing where the banking of the racetrack meets with the flat of the apron. We're going to see them on the front straightaway through the dogleg going down below that yellow line, trying to shave off a couple tenths of a second on their lap times during the course of the entirety of this race. Take a look at your starting lineup here tonight from Phoenix. Alan Dobbs on the pole. Last week's winner Shane Terrian going to line up to his outside, looking for back-to-back victories and looking for what would be the 4th win in a row for Toyota, which that manufacturer swept the entire round of 12. Brock Whitehead and playoff contender Peyton Holland, they're going to be in row number 2. Row 3 going to find Chris Mackey and Matthew Rodriguez. Row 4, Ryan Catalano and Tom Bourne, a couple of playoff drivers right there who both very narrowly were able to make their way into the round of 8. They had a couple of kind of tense moments there in the closing stages of Auto Club last week. And then Noah Jackson, another driver who barely made it in. I believe he made it in by 1 point, did Noah Jackson. He and playoff driver Christian Ruse are going to complete the top 10. We'll take you through the rest of your starting lineup here tonight, as 20 drivers will take the green flag in this one. And Phoenix in the daytime means that this racetrack is going to be hot, it's going to be slick, and you're going to have to preserve those Goodyear tires throughout the long run if we end up seeing this trend green flag. Showed you the 18 drivers that took time. Jonathan Cogswell and Jeffrey Kleinsma are going to be in the 10th and final row. Drivers that were eliminated from the playoffs last week after the conclusion of Auto Club included Jonathan Cogswell, Rylan Faccianato, Dalton McKenney, and Brandon Cooper. 17 drivers began this journey towards the championship. Only 8 remain. Thank you all for tuning in to our coverage here tonight. Should be a good one. It's the first and only time that these drivers get ready to duel in the desert as we get ready for the first race of the round of 8 here in the Grind Cup Series playoffs, presented by Top It Off Hot Sauce. Green flag waves, and Dobbs will lead them into turn number 1. Fanning out 2 wide, 3 wide, middle of the pack. That was Christian Ruse that was in that way upper groove. As Dobbs gets away, battle will be for second. Brock Whitehead will look to clear Shane Terrian off of turn 4. He will do so, and there you see them make the dive down to the apron. Whitehead, Mackey, Catalano all down there, trying to cut that front straightaway. Gain some time on the car in front of them, also put a little bit of distance between them and the car trailing them. Looking back from second place, Brock Whitehead. Big drive into turn 1 on that outside line by Peyton Holland. Looking to get around the 38 of Shane Terrian, and he will do so. Matthew Rodriguez also going to get by the 38 as he'll move into the 4th spot. Terrian not done, as now to his inside comes the 9 of Chris Mackey. Tight racing back here is Ryan Catalano, Tom Bourne, Noah Jackson mixing it up, 7th through 9th. Mackey back to the inside of Terrian for the 5th position. Rodriguez dives it low on Peyton Holland on the front straightaway, hunting for 3rd. You can hear the car bottom out, the splitter, the rear diffuser bouncing off the racing surface as drivers dive from the banking of the dogleg front straightaway onto the apron. Remember, there was a time where this was actually the front straightaway right here. Drivers would have come around to complete a lap and then head over here to what was the back straightaway. As a matter of fact, there was a time where that paved inside apron area was actually grass. There was actually a rumble strip that separated the racing surface from infield grass through the dogleg. So a lot of changes and reconfigurations have taken place here at Phoenix. At a time, Phoenix was known as ISM Raceway, so it's undergone a lot of changes, but it's always seemed to bring about good racing no matter what the configuration of the layout seems to be. One driver who did not qualify well started out back was Jeffrey Kleinsma. He started the furthest back of the playoff drivers, and right now working his way by Larry Bell up to the 15th position. I mentioned about the fact that I feel like this is going to be a track where track position is going to be important, but Kleinsma is going to maybe be a bit of a benchmark here on this run to see just how much you can get done during the course of a run in working your way forward. There you see he's up 5 positions from where he started this race. 20th off the grid, currently 15th. Got some ground to make up before he gets to Matt Davies to challenge for the 14th position. We do have a driver making their debut here tonight as well, as Chester Cheetah prominently features on the number 7 Cheetos Chevrolet of Cody Gibson. Right now is in a good tussle with the 14 of Christian Ruse, who got a little high there off of turn 2, slapped the outside wall with that bright blue number 14. Phoenix is a lot like Dover in that it's notorious for lulling you into a false sense of security of getting back to the throttle off of turn number 2, and then you're not getting the bite you're looking for. The car just all of a sudden goes straight, and next thing you know, you're up into the outside wall. It will be interesting to see. We saw that impact there for Christian Ruse. How is that going to affect the car for the remainder of this run? Any potential damage that he might have done, maybe to that right front or maybe the right rear quarter panel. Got to make sure you don't break a toe link. These cars can be very sensitive in that regard when you make contact with the right rear. And Alan Dobbs has led since the drop of the green flag, but he's not been able to get away. Brock Whitehead has kept him honest. He is all over the back bumper of the number 35. Brock coming off that victory back during the elimination race at Bristol. That was back during the round of 17. Looking for his second win of his career. Not that far behind them, Peyton Holland, Matthew Rodriguez, Shane Terrian holding down the remaining spots inside of the top 5. Got to wonder for some drivers the situation they were in last week and just narrowly able to make their way into the round of 8 by the skin of their teeth, as that kind of scared them into a little bit more big picture racing here tonight. Ryan Catalano in the 92 and the 20 of Noah Jackson just behind him, both just barely scarpered above the cut line at the conclusion of last week's race at Auto Club to advance into the next round of the playoffs. Catalano has been super consistent this season and in the playoffs. Noah Jackson, a multi-time winner. We almost had a couple of heavy hitters out of the postseason. We'll have to see with this new life, if you will, what they're able to do with it. As Matthew Rodriguez starting to fade backwards a bit here. He was up to 4th. Tyrion got around him. Oh, Rodriguez gets loose down the apron. Hangs on to it, though, but that's going to lose him even more positions as Tom Bourne and Trey Whitehead will move around him. And just like that, that big slide's going to move Rodriguez from 5th back to 10th. And that's not going to do any favors to those tires either for the remainder of this run. Certainly had to have spiked up the tire heat in those rear tires, probably more specifically the right rear. And while we saw Shane Tyrion kind of fading back after starting the outside of the front row, looks like now he may have preserved those tires a little better than some of the others around him as he moves by Peyton Holland. He'll go up to the 3rd spot. Looking for back-to-back victories here in the playoffs. Shane Tyrion winning in his debut last week at Auto Club. Check in on Trey Whitehead, who was the only playoff driver to win back during the round of 12. That was at the Atlanta Superspeedway. Right now in the 9th position. Got a clump of playoff drivers all here with Catalano, Jackson, Tom Bourne, and Trey Whitehead, currently 6th through 9th. All these drivers right now inside of the top 10 in position to score stage points, which are going to be very, very important. Now, something that I'm not 100% certain about, and I will get this information prior to next week. We have seen playoff points carry over from the round of 17 to the round of 12. We've seen the round of 12 playoff points carry over here into the round of 8. I'm not certain if playoff points accumulated during the round of 8 will carry over into the final 4 or not, or if it will just be a complete reset with the championship 4 all tied up, and whoever ends up just getting the best finish at Homestead Miami ends up winning the championship. I'm not certain about that. That'll be something that I'll have to follow up on and hopefully have that information when we get to Martinsville next week. We've got some drivers that are moving forward. We've got some drivers that are falling back. We saw Matthew Rodriguez with that slide on the apron has faded back to 10th. Christian Ruse has also fallen back through the field as he's currently scored in 12th. Right behind him is Jeffrey Kleinsma. He's been the biggest mover of the race. He's picked up 7 spots since the drop of the green flag. So we're starting to get an idea here of who's been able to save the tires the best here for the long run. Also, will be interesting to see 50 laps here in stage 1. We're almost halfway through this first stage. I would assume that drivers... Oh, trouble! Noah Jackson had a moment there off of turn 4. He has hit the inside wall, and there is significant damage on the left front of his Toyota Camry. That left front tire is not even turning right now, as he is slow on the apron. He missed the entry to pit road. He's going to have to make his way all the way back around here through 1 and 2 before he can get to the pit road entry off the exit of 2. So problems for Noah Jackson, one of our 8 playoff contenders. And we talked about how for most drivers here that are still playoff contenders, they were looking at this race as maybe a must-win with the wildcard tracks of Martinsville and Talladega on the horizon. Another thing that was on their checklist was do not make mistakes, because you don't want to go into those 2 type of racetracks in a points deficit and find yourself potentially going into Talladega of all places in a must-win situation. Noah Jackson, though, he may very well find himself in a bit of a hole, a bit of a deficit going into Martinsville next week if things don't change. As he sits on pit road, damage is currently being repaired on his Toyota. We'll keep you updated on him, but boy, a driver that just barely by 1 point got into the round of 8 last week at Auto Club, now finding issues in the early going here at Phoenix. Let's see if we've got enough time here. I want to see if we can go back and find out exactly what happened to the 20 of Noah Jackson. I thought for a moment he just got loose off the corner, but I think there might have been something much more untoward. I don't think there was contact made. Here it is off the corner, and let's see. No contact made. Car just turns down the racetrack into the inside wall. I'm almost wondering if there was a hardware failure of some kind. The car did not appear to get loose. There was no contact made from behind. That was an odd one. The car just seemed to turn to the left and never straightened itself back out. And we have already an update on Noah Jackson. He's done for the night. Not even to the conclusion of stage 1, and one of our 8 playoff drivers is already behind the wall and done for the race. Not only is that going to hurt Noah Jackson points-wise, but it takes him out of the running of stage points, which are going to be paid out here in the next 21 laps. And remember, Noah Jackson was one of the 6 playoff drivers that came into this race with no playoff bonus points from the round of 12. So this is going to be a tough hill to climb for driver number 20 in the next 2 weeks. Things have seemed to spread out quite a bit here amongst the top 5, 6, 7. Here's the battle for 8th place. Ryan Catalano and Matthew Rodriguez. Ryan Catalano in that Top It Off Hot Sauce Toyota Camry, and of course, Top It Off Hot Sauce is the sponsor of the playoffs for the 2025 season for the Grind Cup Series. You can head to topitoffsauce.com, and when you use the code PLAYOFF25, you can get 15% off your entire order. Again, that is topitoffsauce.com. Over 30 laps in the books here at Phoenix. Let's check in and see where the playoff drivers are currently situated, as we are at less than 20 to go before stage points will be handed out at the conclusion of stage 1. Alan Dobbs has been out in front since the drop of the green flag after starting on the pole position. Currently holds the fastest lap of the race, only driver to hit the 28 zeros. Closest to him would be Brock Whitehead and Peyton Holland, who currently have run 28 ones. Speaking of Peyton Holland, right now the second highest running of the playoff contenders in the 5th position. He's kind of hovered in the top 5 in the early stages the whole time. Trying to reel in Chris Mackey, trying to stay ahead of Tom Bourne, who ventures way up the track there through 1 and 2. Tom currently in the 6th position. He's been in the top 10 the entirety of this race as well after starting from 8th. Trey Whitehead right behind him, started outside of the top 10, up 7 positions from where he rolled off the grid. Running some pretty good consistent lap times here as well. Keeping an eye on him. Most drivers have kind of faded down into the 28 threes, and he's staying pretty consistently in the mid 28 twos. Ryan Catalano has been able to put Matthew Rodriguez in the rearview mirror, holding on to the 8th position. Another driver that's just kind of hovered between 6th to 8th here in the opening stages of this race, and he is the last of the playoff drivers that are currently situated inside of the top 10. You got to go back to 11th before you find Christian Ruse. Ruse running right around where he started, rolled off the grid P10, currently in P11. Right ahead of the 15 of Jeffrey Kleinsma, who has picked up 8 spots since the drop of the green flag. Started shotgun on the field, and right now in P12. The problem for both Ruse and Kleinsma is being outside of the top 10. Neither one are in line for stage points. That is the playoff drivers that are currently on track. If you're just joining us, Noah Jackson had a problem off the exit of turn number 2. Hit the inside wall, significant damage to the left front fender. Left front wheel was not turning. He brought it down to the attention of his crew, and they pushed him behind the wall. He is done for the night. Will finish 20th this evening, dead last. And we will have to wait and see what kind of a points deficit he's going to have to climb out of heading into next week at the Martinsville Speedway. Going to be 10 to go in stage 1. Next time that Alan Dobbs hits the start-finish line. Trying to look and see if any possible battles could be brewing here in the closing stages inside of the top 10. Rodriguez has reeled Catalano back in, putting the pressure on him for the 8th spot. Somebody just got the wall back there off of 2. It was hard to tell if it was Jeffrey Kleinsma or Tanner Marr. This is a good side-by-side battle going on there as well for 12th place. Catalano going to run the apron this time, try and open up some distance between himself and Rodriguez, but you can see that gave him a shallow entry into 1 and 2, kind of hurt his entry speed, his center of the corner speed, his drive off, and oh, big hit back there for Kleinsma, this time off of turn 2. Trying to hang on to that thing as Tanner Marr putting the pressure on him. Gotta wonder how much of the equipment got used up here with Kleinsma trying to claw his way up the running order from the outside of the last row. Near contact between him and Marr off of turn 2 this time is Patrick McQuaid back there looking on. Patrick McQuaid, we saw him during the regular season. He was so strong, so consistent. Even races where it looked like he was destined to finish between 11th and 15th, he would find ways at the end of the race, whether it was right place, right time, whether it was the right strategy, or just kind of maybe figuring out the track in the second half of the race. He would work his way up into the top 5 and occasionally the top 10, occasionally the top 5. It seemed like as soon as the playoffs began, that team hit a slump. Saw him be one of the first 5 eliminated in the first round of the playoffs. And he has continued to struggle here moving forward in the races in the round of 12 and continuing to struggle, it looks like, here in the first race of the round of 8. Rodriguez has gotten around Catalano, working his way now into the 8th position. Right now, Catalano going to lose another spot, actually. Christian Ruse just got by him for 9th. We currently have 6 playoff drivers up inside of the top 10 who would be in line for stage points. Dobbs, Holland, Bourne, Trey Whitehead, Christian Ruse, and Ryan Catalano. It's interesting you look as well at the upcoming 2 races we've got here in this round of 8. Martinsville, now non-playoff driver Brandon Cooper, the defending winner of that race from earlier on in the season. Talladega, Tanner Marr, non-playoff driver, defending winner of the first time we were at that venue earlier on in the season. So Out of our 8 playoff drivers, none of them have picked up a victory previously at either of the 2 upcoming racetracks. Going to have some traffic here for the race leader, Alan Dobbs, as he has caught up to the 31 of Matt Mettler. I believe just ahead of him is the 5 of Chris Hubka. With 3 laps to go here in the stage, and a near 4-second gap back to Brock Whitehead. How much pressure is he going to put on those drivers ahead of him to put them a lap down? For Matt Mettler, if he does go a lap down, he's certainly going to hope that Chris Hubka is able to keep the 35 at bay, so that way he could get the free pass. It looks like Dobbs has backed his pace down a little bit here, trying to give these drivers ahead of him a fighting chance to stay on the lead lap. As mentioned, he had a near 4-second advantage back to second place, so he really doesn't have to force the issue. And this time around will be the proverbial white flag for stage number 1. Next time by, the green and white checkered flag will wave, and Alan Dobbs looking to pick up yet another stage victory here in the playoffs. He had 3 bonus points coming into this round of 8, all through stage victories in the round of 12. And as I said, I'm not 100% certain if bonus points from the round of 8 carry over into the final 4 or not, but if they do, this could be a very valuable bonus point for Dobbs, as he will cross the line. He will pick up the victory here in stage number 1. We will momentarily see the caution wave once the top 10 have crossed the line. Looks like Peyton Holland will get 5th, Tom Bourne in 6th, Christian Ruse was 9th, and Ryan Catalano had a moment, it looks like, in the closing stages of this first stage. He fell back to 16th. So Kleinsma and Catalano will be the 2 playoff drivers, along with Noah Jackson, who will not get points here in stage 1. Pace car is going to pick up the 35 of Dobbs. Pit road will be open momentarily. It might actually be open this lap. I think the order of the day is going to be pretty simple. 4 fresh tires and fill it up with fuel. So we've established that these drivers can go the entirety of the stage on what they've got in the tank. We'll have a couple of extra laps ticked off here after the conclusion of stage 1 leading into stage 2, so they will definitely be able to make it to the completion of lap 100 on fuel once again. So we don't necessarily know exactly what the fuel window is when we gear them up for the 3rd and final stage, which will be somewhere between 95 to 100 laps, depending on how many pace laps we have at the conclusion of stage number 2. So everybody down pit road. You saw Matt Mettler and Chris Hubka were able to stay ahead of Alan Dobbs, so all remaining 19 drivers will be on the lead lap when we go back green. No need for the free pass. And Dobbs' team will hold serve on pit road with that number 1 stall. He'll be getting us back under green here momentarily from Phoenix. Reminder that tomorrow night, race number 4 of the 66th season of the Rolling Thunder Gaming Talladega Challenge Series comes your way in a simulcast here on the Flatout Racing Network and Tar Nation TV. 3 different drivers have gone to victory lane so far. Will a 4th driver add their name to the list, or will we maybe see in the very early season our first repeat winner? Chuck McClure, Denny Carroll, and Grant Wesley have all picked up checkered flags. Who is next? Find out tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in our simulcast broadcast on Flatout Racing Network and Tar Nation TV. It will not be our last broadcast of the week, however. Be sure to join us on Saturday night, as we'll be bringing you coverage of the annual Breast Cancer Awareness Special Event. Myself and Blaine Donlin going to be bringing you coverage of that one. Some great super speedway racing under the lights at the Primetime Super Speedway. Racing for a great cause. Cannot wait for that one. Be sure to join us Saturday night. I believe the green flag is scheduled for 9 p.m. for that event. But keep an eye out when the stream is scheduled. Should be scheduled later on tomorrow evening, if not Friday morning. Green flag back in the air. Stage 2 begins here at Phoenix. Alan Dobbs looking to have another dominating run here like he had back in the first stage. He will leave them side by side for second place. Shane Tyrion on the bottom, Brock Whitehead up on the top. Little loose there off of turn 4 for Tyrion as he'll go down to the apron. Try to cut the dog leg there. Still gridlocked with Whitehead behind them. Trey Whitehead on the outside of Tom Bourne as they're side by side for 4th. Matthew Rodriguez looking on in the 6th position. Caution is out for the second time. And it's Chris Hupka who appears to have gone around. Looks like that's off the exit of turn number 4. First caution here tonight for cause as we go back and take a look and see what happened to the Crawford Chevrolet Camaro. It's going to get a little assistance there from the 9 of Chris Mackey going into the entrance of turn 3. That shove carries too much speed for Hupka into the corner. Squirrely all the way from the entrance to the center of the corner, and finally it goes around on him. No contact with anybody else, no contact with the outside wall. Should be good. Might have to put a fresh set of tires on that machine, but nothing that looks like any damage is going to take him out of this race. There you see it again. It's the chrome horn. Up the track, hard on the brakes before making contact with the outside wall. Gets it refired, pointing in the right direction, good to go. That was a battle, I believe, for the 15th position at the time. Pit road open, got a few takers on pit lane, including Hupka. It's like Larry Bell and Matt Mettler have also come down pit road. Point of note, during that pit stop at the conclusion of stage 1, we saw a number of drivers go up and hit the wall off of the exit of turn 2. We did have quite a number of drivers that stayed in their pit stalls for a little bit of extra added repair damage. Those drivers included Jeffrey Kleinsma, Chris Mackey, and Ryan Catalano. So that would account for Catalano losing as many spots as he did in the closing stages of stage 1, losing out on stage points as well, not finishing inside of the top 10. Must have pancaked the wall at some point in the final 5 laps of the first stage. So right now, just based off of rough calculation, we know that there are going to be 4 drivers above the cut line when we go to Martinsville next week. There will be 4 drivers below the cut line. And right now, I think it's safe to say that at least 3 of the 4 drivers that would be below the cut line, according to live points, would be obviously Noah Jackson, who is out of this race, Ryan Catalano and Jeffrey Kleinsma, who did not manage to get any stage points here at the conclusion of stage 1, I think would also fall into that category. I believe that the final driver just below the cut line would be Christian Ruse, who finished 9th in stage 1. Pace car makes the dive to pit road off the exit of 2, so drivers have almost an entire half racetrack to pace and think about what their moves are going to be. whether it be just past the start-finish line or down into turn 1. Alan Dobbs and Shane Tyrion, who were the front row for this race, front row for this restart. A great launch for Dobbs on the bottom. Tyrion kind of caught flat-footed there. Not only is not going to get the lead, he's going to lose second to Brock Whitehead. He may lose third to Tom Bourne. Oh, contact made there between Bourne and Brock Whitehead. You saw it from the rear bumper on board there. Oh, and Brock appears to not be too pleased. Further contact, little extracurricular activity off of turn 2. Tom Bourne will clear Brock Whitehead for the second position, but this may not be over. Here comes Brock with a look to the inside on Bourne. They nearly make some contact again, and that checks up Brock Whitehead. Here comes brother Trey to the inside for the third spot. Shane Tyrion now with a big run there on the apron of the dog leg on the front stretch. Looking to the inside of Trey Whitehead to move to third. Almost contact there as the 38 pushes up a bit. He'll slot in between Trey and Brock. Matthew Rodriguez right there as well. Good 4-car battle for the third position. Whoa, as Tyrion had his hands full off the corner. All sorts of slideways. Gathers it back up as he'll now look to the right rear quarter panel of the Blue Buffalo Toyota of Trey Whitehead. Little overcast on the racetrack now. Might bring the track temperature down, might put a little bit of added grip into the racing surface. I don't think it'll do much though. As on board with Shane Tyrion, who continues to put the pressure on Trey Whitehead, who is currently to his inside. Trying to get around the outside of the 23, he'll do so. So move Tyrion up to third. Watch the wheel, watch that red tape that shows the centering of the steering wheel here, specifically going through 1 and 2. Hear the downshift on the entry to the corner. Puts it right on the chip there. Going into 3. Quick upshift to 5th gear. Just past the start finish line, then back down to 4th gear. So most of this lap being run in 4th gear. A necessary upshift on the front straightaway, but able to keep it in 4th gear on the back straightaway. As we got one in the wall a little further back. I believe that was Jonathan Cogswell. It's going to allow Patrick McQuaid to jump to his inside. This is 11th place under contest right now. Look at Matt Davies with a run into the corner. He pushes up the racetrack. So too does Kleinsma. And Chris Mackey behind him. There were 5 cars that ran about 5 different lines there through 1 and 2. Dogfight for positions just outside of the top 10. Let's drop back to the 92 of Ryan Catalano, and we mentioned about the fact he had a extended stay on pit road for damage repair at the conclusion of stage 1. You can see that there is still some visible damage on the right front of his Toyota. This is almost looking a little like deja vu for the driver of the 92. We ended up seeing back during the round of 12. He ended up having some struggles at both the Atlanta Superspeedway and the Charlotte Roval. it put him in a bad spot going into the elimination race at Auto Club. He was able to get just enough points to stay above the cut line, but he might find himself in a bit of a hairy situation going into Martinsville next week if he's not able to find a little bit of extra speed here. Maybe catch some luck and have some other playoff drivers run into some issues. Back up at the front, it has been the Alan Dobbs show since the drop of the green flag. He's been the control car on starts, on restarts. He's already got one stage victory under his belt, looking to sweep the stages here at Phoenix. And a couple laps, he'll be at 25 laps to go, away from halfway and the conclusion of stage number 2. Best battling side of the top 10 is currently going on. 4th place on back. That's where Shane Tyrion, Trey Whitehead, Brock Whitehead, Matthew Rodriguez, Peyton Holland, all in close proximity. You could throw Tanner Marr into that conversation, along with Christian Ruse and Cody Gibson. It's a long train from 3rd back to 10th. As Peyton Holland up the racetrack there. Little brush with the outside wall off of turn 2. A brush is okay. A kiss you could maybe get away with. A slam, not so much. Looks like track conditions definitely have changed a little bit around this point of the run. Back in the first stage, we were already dipping into the high 28-second lap times. Right now, we're in the mid to mid-high 27s. So maybe with those couple of moments of overcast that we've had here, maybe a little bit more grip has been put into the track. It's given a little bit more life to these tires. A lot of drivers, I think, right now kind of finding themselves on a level playing field in terms of speed, so it's making things difficult to, A, not only pull off a pass, but B, set up a pass. Phoenix, in many ways, races like a short track, and maybe one of the biggest similarities of Phoenix and short track racing is to be able to catch somebody, you cannot expect you're going to reel them in by tenths. You're going to be lucky if you close up a gap by thousands. You're really lucky if you close it up by hundreds. It kind of reminds me of like a Dover type racetrack in that regard, where even the slightest amount of ground that you're able to make up from your front bumper to the rear bumper of the car in front of you is a plus. Even if it's just the minutest amount of thousandths of a second. Looking at the comparison of Alan Dobbs and Tom Bourne right now, there's not much in it. Dobbs is just slightly quicker. That last time by, he was 13 one-thousandths of a second faster. We'll compare the lap times this time around. Dobbs clocks in at a 27.695. Tom Bourne about 2/10 slower that time at a 27.890. So Allen was able to find something there on that lap, and he has opened up even more distance between himself and the 16. Right now, though, we were talking about how important stage points are during the course of the playoffs. They continue to be more and more important as we draw closer to the end of the season. Alan Dobbs right now in line to pick up maximum stage points if he can complete the stage sweep here. Tom Bourne, Trey Whitehead, Peyton Holland as well, all looking like they would be in pretty good shape with the stage points they accumulated here. Christian Ruse has been just in the latter half of the top 10 for both the first and now the second stage, so he'll get stage points, but with not accumulating quite as much as 4 other drivers ahead of him. Again, as I mentioned, I think he would be the first driver below the cut line as the live points currently are scored. A couple playoff drivers back here. Battling for 8th, Peyton Holland trying to hold off the 14 of Christian Ruse. Brush with the outside wall there into the entry of turn 1 for Peyton Holland. As the sun gleams off the roofs of these stock cars off the exit of turn 2. Take a look here off the exit of turn 1 into the entry of 2. How much does that sun play with visibility, or maybe that hillside there kind of blocks the sun from blinding the drivers? Here it is off of 2. See a little glint, little reflection off the racing surface, but it doesn't look like it's anything that would play havoc with the visibility of the drivers. Nice rotation through the center, gets a good run on Tanner Mart as Peyton Holland, so that could be a brewing battle for 7th place. But you see the play in the wheel there as well. A lot of counter steering off of turn 4. Pretty hard turn there to the left all the way through 1 and 2. A little bit of counter steer here against the banking on the back straightaway. Oh, you hear that little lift, a couple little lifts right there as got those left sides down in that yellow line. Car might have been starting to step out just a little bit. Lets it right up the banking of 1 and 2 this time. Might be looking for some clean air, looking to diamond the corner, get the run off. Did not find the bite that he was looking for though. Loses a bit of ground. Let's see where he goes through 3 and 4. Again, gonna pin it right down there on the yellow line. You see him push up there. Whoa, trouble right ahead of him. Somebody is slow up against the... Is that Patrick McQuaid? Yeah, up against the outside wall just past the start-finish line. And Patrick McQuaid comes to a stop, and that's going to warrant the caution coming out. Third caution of the evening, second caution for cause as Patrick McQuaid looks like he took a pretty hard lick into the outside wall there, more than likely off of turn 4. I think you're going to see everybody on pit road here. I don't think anyone's going to risk staying out. They ran about 30 to 35 green flag laps on these tires. And you'd be a proverbial sitting duck if you elected to stay out here for this upcoming restart to the finish of stage 2. Looks like pit road was not open that time by. Let's go back and take a look at what happened to Patrick McQuaid. Apparently also we're going to check and see if we can find out what happened to the 5 of Chris Hupka, who appears to have retired from the race about 7 laps prior. I didn't see any incident take place on the track. Hupka did bring his car to pit road and put it back in the garage area. This is back with the Hupka. This is him coming to pit road. I don't see really any damage on the car. Nothing untowards looking here. Tires are all up. Comes into the attention of his crew. Oh, doesn't even pull into his pit stall. Just retires out of the race right there. Actually calls the tow. And then not too long afterwards, retires out of the race. Now we'll take a look and see what happened to the 77 of Patrick McQuaid. I believe he's going to get a little bit of assistance, actually. This was all the way back. So we saw on board with Peyton Holland, him bypassing the 77 as they were crossing the start-finish line. This incident actually occurs all the way back off the exit of turn 2, and this just shows the struggles that Patrick McQuaid's been having. Up into the outside wall there in the entrance of turn 1, and then as they're exiting out of 2, gets the wall, comes down across the nose of Matt Davies, hard into the inside wall, heavy, heavy contact. And I think he was trying to maybe see if he could drive this thing back to pit road to avoid a caution, but I think at that point the steering is broken. He's having to use the outside wall to kind of guide him around the turns 3 and 4. And it was right around here that we saw Peyton Holland go by him as he makes his way across the start-finish line, and the car's going to finally come to a stop right up here in the middle of the dogleg of the front straightaway with oncoming traffic. Race officials, for safety concerns, have to throw the caution. And that sets us up now for a shootout to conclude stage number 2. Green flag back in the air. Dobbs chose the top line for this restart. He and Brock Whitehead both get great launches and will get around Tom Bourne, who will shift from second back to third. Now back on the attack, little contact there. Remember, the 71 to 16, they've traded some paint already here tonight. Shane Terry and Matthew Rodriguez battling for 4th. Trey Whitehead thought about 3 wide going into 3, backed out of it. And we'll get single filed out, at least amongst the top 6. Peyton Holland, Christian Ruse still trying to sort things out. Little contact there as Kleinsman gets into the back of Holland. Whoa, Rodriguez with a moment there off of 2. Gathers it back up, but Trey Whitehead will complete a pass there. Peyton Holland gets a great launch as well. He'll get around Rodriguez to move to 6th. Look at this battling back here. Oh, we're 3 wide going into 1. Mackey on the bottom, Ruse in the middle. Kleinsma up top side. Cogswell going to try and fill the hole on the inside as well. Here comes Catalano. Contact between him and Ruse. Cogswell, I think, got into the left rear of Kleinsma. Not a whole lot of space to maneuver. We're going to be 3 wide once again. That's Cogswell, Kleinsma, and Rodriguez. Somehow we're all pointed in the right direction and still green with all that's being exchanged here. Cogswell nearly running over Peyton Holland on the entry, and there goes Kleinsma. Off the nose of Holland. Caution's going to wave. He tried to straighten him back out and did so, but the yellow flag is going to come out. And this could potentially end the stage under yellow. Not sure if we're going to have enough laps here to open up pit road, get them stacked up, and maybe get a 1 or 2 lap shootout to end off stage number 2. Rather inconsequential caution right there. Probably didn't need to be a caution. Kleinsma was about 45 degrees around, but Peyton Holland straightened him back out. That was kind of one of those 50-50 calls where it didn't necessarily have to be a yellow, but it was called a yellow anyway. We were going to get a caution within the next 5 to 6 laps regardless, so I think they probably could have kept that one green. Kind of saw it happen live as well. Really, really close quarter racing back amongst drivers from 8th to about 13th, 14th. And we saw, looked like from initial go, we'll take another look at it here. I believe Kleinsma kind of came down off the wall across the nose of Peyton Holland. Just a tough spot of the racetrack there. You've got drivers on the inside that are pushing up. You got drivers on the outside that are trying to turn down off of the wall. Call that the gray area. Yeah, you got Holland, who's got Catalano to his inside as well, so it's a really tough area of the racetrack. It narrows up on the exit of 4. You saw Holland did everything he could to straighten Kleinsma out. He succeeded in doing so, but the race officials still threw the caution regardless. Pit road was open, no takers. So everybody, I think, feels that this race will go back green prior to the completion of Stage 2. Almost wondered about some of the drivers back outside of the top 10 here, maybe coming down and flipping the stage, and there are a few drivers that have elected to do just that. From 12th place on back, Matt Mettler, Tanner Marr, Cody Gibson, last week's winner Shane Tyrion, Christian Ruse, all on pit road. Same for Matthew Rodriguez. So more than likely those drivers, they will stay out when the stage yellow is displayed, and they will flip the field when Dobbs, Whitehead, Bourne, Trey Whitehead, when they all come to pit road in about the next 3 laps. Patrick McQuaid has taken his Chevrolet behind the wall. 3 drivers so far will not reach the conclusion of tonight's race from Phoenix. McQuaid, Hubka, and playoff driver Noah Jackson all currently in the infield. 17 drivers still running, all 17 on the lead lap. Working our 4th caution of the night, 3rd caution for cause. We're going to have another guaranteed caution coming up here in the next 2 laps, as it will be a 2-lap dash to find out who's going to get the stage victory here in stage number 2. Alan Dobbs won stage number 1, racked up another valuable point, and gets another great launch here on this restart. He'll clear both the Whiteheads, who will be side by side for second going into the first corner. Get Ryan Catalano high, wide, and handsome through 1 and 2, trying to get some of those stage points he didn't get back in stage 1. Tom Bourne to the inside, 3 wide, and Catalano's going to get clipped. Is that going to bring out the yellow? Oh, he clips Jonathan Cogswell, and that will bring out the caution flag. This will end the stage. Alan Dobbs will sweep the stages here tonight at Phoenix. And that's got to be frustrating for Ryan Catalano, who is in line to at least be in the top 5, garner some valuable stage points. He finished out of the top 10 in stage 1. They were 3 wide going into turn 3. Tom Bourne, Brock Whitehead, and Ryan Catalano. And Catalano got clipped in the left rear quarter panel, and he was the proverbial sacrificial lamb. Pits will be open momentarily. I think we'll see most everybody come down pit road, with the exception of those that elected to stay out. I'm sorry, those that decided to pit under the previous caution. Here's a look at it. We're going to take you all the way back to the center of 1 and 2 and watch how this all culminates. So watch the 71 of Brock Whitehead. Puts the block on Tom Bourne. Bourne keeps himself to the inside, and then right there, Brock trying to maybe dive it in against Tom Bourne, sends it in as well into the left rear quarter panel of Ryan Catalano. You got to wonder at that point, did Catalano realize that they were 3 wide? Because he kind of turns down into the corner as if he's expecting the 71 to also turn down the corner, which Brock cannot do because he's got Tom already to his left rear quarter panel. Here's another look. Watch the lines these drivers take. Watch how the 71 goes in kind of straight, but he's got a car to his inside. Catalano turns down into the corner almost as if he thought that they weren't 3 wide. Oh, that's a massive hit for Jonathan Cogswell also. And a great piece of driving by Jeffrey Kleinsma, who I think, we'll have to double check, but I think he might have narrowly avoided the 27. Watch this impact right here. It gets clipped. Bam! We got to take an on board with Kleinsma. Oh, it looks like Kleinsma did not get away unscathed. Looks like he is actually on pit road right now, getting damage repaired. We're going to go on board with him and listen to just how big of an impact it was. Didn't sound like a whole lot, at least from that vantage point, but it does have him sitting on pit road. He's just now rolling off of pit lane, and looks like he's going to lose a lap as a result. So as expected, drivers that came down pit road under the caution just prior to the stage yellow, they will stay out. Matt Mettler is going to inherit the race lead. Matthew Rodriguez to his outside, then Christian Ruse, Cody Gibson, Tanner Marr, Ryan Catalano, and Shane Tyrion all stayed out. Trey Whitehead looks like he got to line up ahead of Alan Dobbs. That'll be an interesting battle back there, mid-portion of the top 10. See who's going to be able to get by the drivers on older tires the quickest. But mission complete here tonight for Alan Dobbs. Oh, trouble! Peyton Holland around. Same for Mackey. And the caution's going to wave for the 6th time here tonight. Cautions breeding cautions as we now venture into the second half of this race, and another of our playoff drivers involved in this one, this time the 19 of Peyton Holland, who looks like he may have gotten away from this relatively unscathed. Jeffrey Kleinsma, this is the caution he was hoping for, so this puts him back on the lead lap via the free pass. Let's see if we can figure out how this went down. Oh, looks like Peyton just got loose. Peyton got loose. Tom Bourne got loose there on the top side off of turn 4 as well. And then Chris Mackey got clipped by the 19. I think we could probably attribute that to cold tires. Another look at it here is Matt Davies is the outside of the 19. You see right there, it just loses grip. Mackey actually did not make contact with Peyton Holland, but Brock Whitehead did. Made contact with the right front. So caution out once again. Got a few drivers coming down pit road. There you see Jeffrey Kleinsma going around the outside of the field, getting the lucky dog, so he'll get back on the lead lap. 16 drivers still running in this race. Out of the original 20 is Jonathan Cogswell, who was involved in the caution prior to this one, has taken his Ford Dark Horse Mustang back into the infield and parked into the garage, joining Patrick McQuaid, Chris Hupka, and Noah Jackson. Again, want to remind everybody that the 2025 Grind Cup Series playoffs are sponsored by Top It Off Hot Sauce. And you can head to topitoffsauce.com and using the code PLAYOFF25, you can get 15% off your entire order. We thank Top It Off Hot Sauce for sponsoring the playoffs here for the Esports Oval League's Grind Cup Series, and head to topitoffsauce.com today and use this promo code for 15% off. This looks like a trio of drivers came to pit road under this yellow. Brock Whitehead, Ryan Catalano, and Peyton Holland, all with somewhat lengthy stops in their stalls there. Brock Whitehead with contact into Peyton Holland. Ryan Catalano continuing to get damage repair done, probably more than likely on that right front quarter panel. Stage points have all been paid out. Alan Dobbs has raked in the most, sweeping the stages here tonight. Pretty good points evenings as well for Trey Whitehead and Tom Bourne. As the green flag back in the air, Matt Mettler Another great launch for the 31, who was one of the half dozen drivers that flipped the stage. Car in the wall back there, that was, I believe, Shane Tyrion. It's 3 wide with Alan Dobbs and Tanner Marr. It's the furthest back Alan Dobbs has been all race after leading the opening 100 laps. Car hard up into the wall. I believe that might have been Matt Davies. He's still going in the right direction. I'm not sure who he went up into, but whoever it was, they both kept going. We stay green. As now Matt Mettler has been kicked up out of the groove. Rodriguez will go to the lead, but look at them. Oh, Shane Tyrion into Alan Dobbs. They were 4 wide on the front straightaway. And at least 3 drivers were diving down onto the apron. It's like trying to merge into a lane on the highway when they're 4 deep. It's like most everybody got away with minimal to no damage. It is going to lose some valuable track position for both the 38 and the 35. But it was like when they ran up on the 31 of Matt Mettler, everything just kind of stacked up, and everybody on those fresher tires were diving to the inside, to the apron on the front straightaway, trying to pick up track position. And Dobbs and Tyrion wanted the same piece of real estate. Here's another look at it. We're going to take this back to midway through 3 and 4. And just watch how this all kind of accordions up. Tyrion's able to cross to the inside there, and he has to give room to the 7 of Cody Gibson to his inside. And as he tries to kind of straight line the apron, Dobbs comes down across into the path of Tyrion, and they just end up meeting in the middle. These cars do not have blinker lights as well, so you don't know if they're making a left-hand turn or not, and how far left they're turning, specifically on the front straightaway. This is going to be a good look from high above of what we're talking about. Watch the path of the 35 and the 38. This was 4 wide. Right there, you see, so the 38 of Tyrion, he's already straightened out his line, headed for turn 1. Dobbs, he's still wanting to continue to run down there on the apron on the front straightaway, and unfortunately, they just both wanted the same piece of real estate. And if you're Tyrion, you can't see far enough out the driver's right. If you're Dobbs, you can't see far enough out the driver's left to know that there's somebody there. And unfortunately, they both make contact with each other. Now, as I stated, I don't think that either one really sustained a whole lot of damage in that. It was kind of door-to-door contact, and there wasn't anybody else that really got involved in that scuff-up, so it should be okay. There is damage on the 7 of Cody Gibson, who is still out there. I did notice he got a little piece. It might have been of Shane Tyrion. It buckled up the nose. You can see that it's also kind of lifted the front spoiler up off the ground. A look back from Matthew Rodriguez will kind of give you more of an idea of what I'm talking about. There you see, it's just kind of lifted up in the center around that grill. And that could be a concern in terms of downforce for Cody Gibson the remainder of this race. But he decides not to give up track position, as he'll restart in 3rd behind Matthew Rodriguez and Matt Mettler. Tanner Marr, Christian Ruse going to be the top 5. And green flag back out once again. Rodriguez as low as he can go on the front straightaway. Oh, and then very slow on the apron there through 1 and 2. I don't know if he got loose or if there was something he didn't like right there, but he's just given up all that track position now. First laps of his Grind Cup Series career, Cody Gibson, gonna bring them out of turn 4 as Tom Bourne is around off the inside of the final corner. Looks like green will stay out, as that was, I guess, deemed down off the racing surface and out of harm's way. Bourne gonna lose valuable track position as he's gonna fade all the way back to last car running in P16. So add Tom Bourne to the list of playoff drivers that have had some issues here tonight at Phoenix. It seems like it doesn't matter what racetrack we've been to here in the playoffs. These tracks have not played favorites. Christian Ruse, who had a really solid round of 12, easily advanced his way into this Elite 8. He's been able to get a few points here at the conclusion of the 2 stages. Right now, the highest running of the playoff drivers as he's battling Tanner Marr for second. Marr's going to get around him, move Ruse back to third, and he looks in his rearview mirror, sees another playoff driver right behind him in Trey Whitehead. Remember, back in the round of 12, Trey Whitehead ended up winning the first race at the Atlanta Superspeedway, which meant that he was locked into this round of 8 regardless of what happened in the following weeks at the Charlotte Roval and Auto Club. He would love that luxury once again here in this round. Win tonight, be locked into the championship 4, regardless of what happens in the next 2 weeks at 2 very interesting racetracks. Martinsville next week, Talladega, the final elimination race of the postseason. Tanner Marr got by Cody Gibson for a brief moment. Gibson tried to cross him back over, not going to be able to do so. Tanner Marr looking for his second win on the season. Got his first at the high banks of Talladega the first time we were at that super speedway. Still a long ways to go in this race as well. 80 laps left. Oh, is Gibson up into Christian Ruse as they entered into turn 1. Both kept going, both still inside of the top 5 as Alan Dobbs trying to take advantage of that situation. Saw him and Shane Tyrion get together right here on the front straightaway for the last caution. Dobbs has moved his way rapidly through the field, back up into the top 5, trying to get back up to the race lead where he was at for the opening first 100 laps of this race. Tom Bourne's been able to pick up a couple of spots here after having that spin off of turn 4 gotten by both Brock Whitehead and Matthew Rodriguez. So was 16th, now 14th, and actually running some really fast lap times. He's going to catch up to the tail end of this group, Peyton Holland and Larry Bell momentarily, so don't count him out just yet. He's definitely got the pace to be able to get back up to where he was. Shane Tyrion and Cody Gibson battle for 6th. Give the spot to Shane. Got to think that that damage, specifically on the front splitter, has got to be affecting the downforce of Gibson, as Kleinsma or Mettler, one of the two, maybe both, brushed the wall that time off the second corner. Here comes Ryan Catalano trying to get something back here. No stage points for driver 92 here tonight. Had a shot at stage points at the conclusion of stage 2 and got spun. Was outside of the top 10 after getting into the wall at the close of stage 1, so a 0 in the stage points column, trying to at least finish decently here tonight. Not certain, even with where he's running right now, if it would get him above the cut line or not. We'd have to obviously wait for all the points to be calculated, but could make his situation at least a little better going into next week than what it was looking like the projection was going to be. He had to lift there for Gibson off of 2, had Kleinsma into the back of him. big wiggle for Trey Whitehead as he tried to wrap the bottom through 3 and 4. Tanner Marr continuing to hold serve. Doing a good job here is Tanner Marr. Remember, he was one of those drivers that came to pit road on the caution prior to the conclusion of stage 2. About maybe 4 to 5 lap older tires than some of the drivers behind him, including the 23. So there's not a whole lot in it. He's doing a good job of keeping those drivers at bay as Alan Dobbs now looking to the inside of Christian Ruse for 3rd place. Up the track there through the center of the corner. Ruse going to stay alongside him as they head for 3. Dobbs trying to look for that rotation through the center, trying to get back to the throttle. He's going to cut down through the dog leg on the front straightaway. Can he clear the 14 going into 1? Yes, he can. Up the track, almost kind of parks the bus right there. That's what you got to do. Short track racing. Stall the counter momentum of the driver you're trying to pass. Dobbs textbooks does it, and now slots into P3. Trey White is the only other driver up ahead of him that is on equal footing in terms of tires. And man, he drove it into turn 1. Did Dobbs. They had to check himself up there through the center of the corner. Look at all the ground it lost him. Another big send here into turn 1, trying to close up the gap between himself and the top 2. 70 laps to go. We knew the driver's fuel window could get them home in the 50-lap stages, but one would have to assume that probably we're going to have to come to pit road at some point here before the checkered flag, as Shane Tyrion went up and tank slapped the outside wall there through the front straightaway. Almost looked like that car, either it never turned through the dog leg or maybe got loose from the transition of the apron onto the banking, but that thing started sliding up to the wall and did make some contact. Tyrion right now, the last car in this front group, currently in P6. Boy, if Tom Bourne gets up there in that lead group, look out. He was 16th after spinning out off of turn 4 on the restart. He is now up to 8th. Now granted, he's probably used up a lot of grip in those Goodyear tires and getting to where he is, but he has been laying down some of the fastest lap times of this run. As a matter of fact, he's got the fastest lap turned in this race at a 26.821. Peyton Holland may be struggling right now in that 19. Seen him get into the wall a couple of times off of turn 2. And he has since faded out of the top 10. Matt Davies actually just got by him to move him back to 11th. Payne was another driver that had a really, really good round of 12. Went into the elimination race at Auto Club with a very comfortable cushion between himself and the cut line. Cashed in on some stage points here tonight. Question is, will they be enough? I believe they'd be enough to have him 3rd or 4th in the points going into Martinsville next week. The big question is going to be just how much of a cushion would he have back to the cut line. Dobbs has gotten by Trey Whitehead to move into 2nd. Only one car to get by now before he gets back to the clean air. And he's going to try that outside line with about 5 lap pressure tires. Look at the way he was able to straight line off the corner of 4 onto the front straightaway. He's going to send it into turn 1. Tanner Marr up the racetrack, opened up the door, near contact as they exit off of 2, but it's Alan Dobbs going back to the point. Had to be patient through traffic there, realizing he had the tire advantage, but he now puts his nose back in clean air here at Phoenix. Tanner Marr sends it in. Almost got to the back bumper, but had to majorly lift through the center, and that's just going to allow Dobbs to run away now. Tanner Marr looking back at Trey Whitehead. That's going to be the battle for second place. Shane Terrian, after his moment on the front straightaway, has picked up a couple of spots, getting by both Chris Mackey and Christian Ruse. He's up to 4th. Maybe a little sense of urgency here for Trey Whitehead. Does not want to let Alan Dobbs get too far out in front. He will clear Tanner Marr for P2 off the exit of the second corner. Marr looking to get back to him, not going to be able to do so here in 3, and here comes Tyrion, now looking to get up to 3rd. Looks like Tanner Marr's got a car that can really send it into the entry of the corner, just can't quite find the rotation from the center off. Looks like the car gets a little tight, can't quite get back to the throttle as soon as he would like to. He's done a great job here after flipping the stage of maintaining track position. Got to think he's going to be one of the favorites in a couple of weeks' time when we go to Talladega Superspeedway for the final elimination race of the playoffs. Defending winner at that racetrack earlier on this year when we were there at the beginning of May. Impressive run for Christian Ruse here as well. Saw him kind of snipe a couple of points, the conclusion of both the stages here, and looking solid inside of the top 5. Now granted though, he along with Tanner Marr were drivers that flipped the stage, so if they cannot make it on fuel, which I'm assuming they can, these would be some of your first drivers to have to make the dive onto pit road. It's just a matter of when would they do it. Now, kind of looking at the 4 and the 14 as benchmark drivers, if we're looking to split this run in half, we're not that far away from doing so. We went back green with roughly about, was it 80 some odd laps to go? We'd be looking, if they were to split the run in half, for Tanner Marr, Christian Ruse to come to pit road somewhere in the next 10 to 15 laps. Now, that's if they wanted to split it in half. If they're going to run as far as they possibly can, that might extend the window out a little bit further. And of course, there's always that catch-22 where Phoenix is not by any means a long configured racetrack by length. You come to pit road, you are almost guaranteed to lose, if not 1 lap, maybe even 2. So if you're one of those first drivers that dives to pit road, you lose those laps, the caution comes out, maybe you get lucky, only lose 1 lap, get the free pass, get back in the lead lap, but the odds of that are pretty slim. It's a matter of how much do you want to risk, really, when it comes to trying to undercut the strategy there with short pitting. Tanner Marr still doing a great job here as here comes Terry into the inside, looking at least. I think Tyrion might be pitting. So there you go. 38 of Shane Tyrion coming in, so I would assume the window is open to make it the rest of the way. Interesting, pitting with 53 to go, so was that the maximum window? That meant that we were right on the cut line of being able to make it the scheduled distance in both the first and second stages. We were just past that window. Seven of Cody Gibson on pit road as well. Tom Bourne has come down to the attention of his crew. Just now has left with 4 fresh tires. Does this draw more drivers to pit road, specifically playoff drivers? Looks like Alan Dobbs is going to continue to stay out. So too will Trey Whitehead. Tanner Marr, Christian Ruse, Chris Mackey still remain your top 5. Looks like Matthew Rodriguez has also made a pit stop a couple of laps ago. Same for Matt Mettler. Now for most of these drivers that have come to pit road, they are only 1 lap down. Cody Gibson was actually 2 laps down, but you saw him right there get one of those 2 laps back, making his way around Alan Dobbs on fresh tires. So right now, 6 drivers that have pit, currently only -1 to the race leader. One would have to wonder how much time is Alan Dobbs willing to give up, specifically to the 38 of Shane Tyrion, who right now is running a second and a half faster every single lap on the fresher tires. How long are you willing to wait and give the 38 that advantage if you're Dobbs? Now granted, the later that Dobbs pits, the fresher his tires will remain for the conclusion of this race. So for Tyrion, he's looking for the lap times on the start of this run. For Dobbs, he'd be looking for the lap times at the conclusion of this run. And maybe too, maybe in Dobbs' mind, he knows he has the 38 and the 16 1 lap down. Might be staying out long, maybe hoping that a caution comes out, keep those drivers trapped a lap down, or at least have only one of them get back in the lead lap via the lucky dog. Jeffrey Kleinsma, playoff driver on pit lane. 4 tires and fuel for the Mountain Dew Kickstart Chevrolet, and they'll send him down and away off of pit road, back onto the racetrack. Looks like he's only going to lose a lap here. Tanner Marr slowing in 3 and 4. He's coming in. Ran that alternative strategy. Larry Bell also right behind him, bringing the number 43 onto pit road. I haven't talked much about Larry Bell here tonight. He's been on the lead lap all evening, kept his nose clean. Pitting from, it looked like, the 9th position. Still waiting on 5 playoff drivers to come to pit road, including Dobbs, Trey Whitehead, Christian Ruse, Peyton Holland, and Ryan Catalano. And continuing to look at lap times here, what was a 2.5 advantage, now Shane Tyrion running only a second faster per lap in comparison to the leader Alan Dobbs. Trey Whitehead currently in second, does have Brock Whitehead, who is 10 laps down in front of him. I think Trey might be coming down pit road this time. Yep. Like he was running a lower line there through 3 and 4, so he'll pit from the 2nd position. We'll look to see if maybe he can gain an advantage. on fresh rubber against his Whitehead Racing teammate in the 35. Only driver to pit this time by. Again, Dobbs will bypass the entry to pit road, continuing to tick laps down. Looks like we're waiting for 6 drivers to complete this cycle. Dobbs, Roos, Mackey, Holland, Davies, and Catalano. Well, we can check Matt Davies off that list as he brings the Chewy Toyota Camry onto pit lane here from the 5th spot. Another driver who's had a quiet night and been able to keep himself up here in the conversation the entire evening. Who looks like he may have not known exactly where his pit stall was. Now pulls up a couple stalls further. Alan Dobbs is on pit road. From the race lead, Christian Roos now out in front in the 14. Dobbs gonna make his way all the way down pit road, pull into that number 1 pit stall that he earned from getting the pole position here tonight. We'll have to see now where he leaves pit road in comparison to the 38 of Shane Tyrion, as here comes Roos to pit road, Chris Mackey right behind him. Peyton Holland in the 19 will stay out, so this should cycle him to the race lead. Could be a strategy to get a valuable bonus point for a lap led here for the playoff contender. And I believe he is the last driver now to complete our cycle of green flag pit stops, as Ryan Catalano has also hit pit road in the 92. As we wait for the 19 to come to pit lane, Shane Tyrion has now cycled up to 2nd, Bourne to 3rd, Rodriguez 4th. Tanner Marr has been able to leapfrog Alan Dobbs as well. Dobbs, once the 19 hits pit lane, will be back in 5th. Now he is right now 15 seconds behind the leader Holland. He is only about 7 seconds behind Shane Tyrion. Would 35 laps or so be enough time for him to close up the gap on Shane Tyrion? Dobbs looking to win his way into the Final Four here tonight. Shane Tyrion looking for his 2nd win in as many starts in the 2025 season of the Grind Cup Series. Dobbs working hard. He just got around Tanner Marr. That was for 6th on track, what would eventually be 5th. Matthew Rodriguez next on the hit list as fresher tires rotate on the bottom line for Dobbs through 1 and 2, and he'll clear Rodriguez going into 3. Only 2 cars in front of him now, as Peyton Holland has made the dive onto pit road. That will complete the cycle of stops. And now it comes down to who's got the tires, who's got the speed for 35 laps. Just to give you an idea of a number of those drivers that stayed out, how much time, how much track position did they give up? Well, right now, Matt Davies, Ryan Catalano, and Peyton Holland, who were all up inside the top 5, top 6 with running the long con on strategy, they all find themselves now outside of the top 10, 12th through 14th. Drivers on the lead lap after that pit stop cycle completed. Ryan Catalano, Peyton Holland, both 1 lap down, both playoff contenders. Keep an eye on the pylon there on the left side of your screen and watch the interval following the 35 of Dobbs in that 3rd position. Now he will have about a second up the road Tom Bourne to deal with first for 2nd place. That might slow him down a little bit. But it's looking like chipping away lap by lap at the advantage Shane Tyrion currently has. There is 11, make that 12 laps difference on the tires currently on the 38 in comparison to the tires on the 35. As maybe some traffic to deal with here for Alan Dobbs. Tom Bourne coming up on the wounded machine of Brock Whitehead. Brock going to kind of pinch Tom Bourne down there. Those two have not given each other a whole lot of room here this evening. Oh, and then contact there. Tom Bourne into the side of Alan Dobbs, who will make his way by for second place, albeit with a bit of a wrinkle on that right front quarter panel. I want to keep the camera here on these two. They've exchanged some contact, some paint numerous times during the course of this race, and it may not be over between these two. Brock Whitehead currently 9 laps down. Last car running on the track in 16th. Tom Bourne right now in 3rd. Get the inside. Brock gonna pull down right in front of him, kind of block him. Bourne lost the nose on entry. I don't think Brock's making this all so easy on Tom Bourne. This is allowing Trey Whitehead and Tanner Marr to close up on this battle. Tom again gonna send it to the inside. Whitehead not gonna give him the lane. Bourne back down to the apron, not gonna get enough of a run this time as Whitehead gonna move to the inside line. Bourne gonna try the outer groove, but there are some fresher tires coming up behind him in the form of the 23 of Trey Whitehead and the 4 of Tanner Marr. I believe the 92 of Ryan Catalano also has fresher tires in the rearview mirror, though he's a lap down, right now in the free pass position. This time Tom Bourne gonna clear Brock Whitehead, but he goes up the track. He's gonna get put in the middle, 3 wide. Whitehead on the bottom, Catalanos to the outside. Trey Whitehead had to think about what to do there, decides not to stick his nose in the middle, 3 wide down the back straightaway. Tom Bourne will finally get around the 71. Here come the fresh tires, though, to his inside. Catalano. Lap machine looking low. Woo! Up the track, maybe contact with Tom Bourne, and Bourne with that wide line through 1 and 2 is going to lose a spot to Trey Whitehead. Gets the wall off of 2 for troubles, and now here comes Tanner Marr for 4th place. Keeping an eye on this battling here in the latter portion of the top 5, but keeping a close watch on the interval between the top 2. It's continuing to close up. Contact there as Tanner Marr up and into Tom Bourne, who's getting used up in these final couple of laps. Bourne now shifted back to 5th. Let's jump back up to the front. Shane Tyrion and Alan Dobbs. A difference of 12 laps on the tires, advantage to the 35. Tyrion got the advantage the beginning of the run with the undercut strategy, but the fresher tires prevailing here the latter portion of the run for Alan Dobbs. Dobbs trying to look low here. Tyrion tried to block him. Can't stay to the right rear as Dobbs gets the better drive off, and Alan Dobbs is going to go back to the race lead. Some traffic up ahead for the leaders to have to deal with, though, and less than 25 circuits remaining. That is the 7 of Cody Gibson, the 31 of Matt Mettler, who right now are in 12th and 13th. Last 2 drivers on the lead lap. Looks like Dobbs is going to get by the 7 pretty easily. As we'll drop back here to 7th place battle. Matthew Rodriguez, another driver that tried the undercut strategy, older tires, trying to hold off Jeffrey Kleinsma. It's about 9 laps difference advantage to Kleinsma. on the rubber underneath them. Ooh, Kleinsma rides up the track a bit, almost into the left rear quarter panel of Rodriguez. Be a valuable position, some valuable points for Kleinsma if he can complete this pass. Rodriguez not making it easy on him, though. Lap car Peyton Holland getting the best seat in the house, watching this side-by-side battle off of 4 and onto the straightaway. Kleinsma edges out ahead, sends it into turn 1. Will it stick? No, it will not. He went too high up the track. Rodriguez tried to cross him over, but Kleinsma was able to get a much better exit off of turn 2. And he'll clear for the spot. Move Kleinsma up to the 7th position. Alan Dobbs saw him get around Cody Gibson. He then was trying to get around Matt Mettler, but Mettler actually brought his machine to pit road. And looks like they have pushed that car back behind the wall. Mettler will not reach the conclusion of this one. I believe there are enough laps left where Brock Whitehead will bypass him for 15th, so Mettler will more than likely finish 16th on the night. One of 5 drivers that will finish this race behind the wall, in addition to Jonathan Cogswell, Patrick McQuaid, Chris Hubka. And if you're just joining us here in the closing stages of this one, massive playoff implications in the opening stages of tonight's first race of the round of 8, as multi-time winner Noah Jackson was the first driver to retire from the event, finishing 20th place here tonight. He will undoubtedly be below the cut line. Only time will tell how far below the cut line going into next week at Martinsville. And he's a driver who last week in the elimination race at Auto Club made it into the round of 8 by 1 point. While we were watching the gap decrease earlier with Dobbs trying to reel in Tyrion, we now watch the interval increase as Dobbs continues to put daylight between himself and the 38. Now nearly 2 seconds the advantage. At this point in time, you know for Alan Dobbs that every time he comes off of turn 4 and looks up at the flag stand, he does not want to see any activity up there, with the exception of the flagman getting the white flag ready to display. A caution right now, a late race restart, is the last thing that Dobbs wants to have to deal with. Though granted, Dobbs has been really good on the initial start and restarts here this evening. That's why he's been able to lead the most laps. He's accumulated the most stage points, sweeping the stages here tonight at Phoenix. And now he is less than 15 laps away from punching his ticket to Homestead, Miami, becoming a part of the Championship 4. Working his way to the inside of Tom Bourne. So Ruse will now get up into the top 5, moving Bourne back into the 6th position. Bourne just trying to hold on here. He's got a pretty sizable margin back to Kleinsma. A little more than 4 seconds, just maybe trying to hold on to that 6th position on older tires. Christian Ruse, out of the drivers in the top 5 right now, actually has the freshest tires. 1 lap fresher tires than race leader Alan Dobbs. Let's see what he can do with these fresh tires here. He's got about 0.8 of a second between himself and Tanner Marr. Maybe get up there and get another spot before this race is over. Right now for Alan Dobbs, he's looking to win his way into the Final 4. Quite a number of drivers are going to, based off of some good runs in the 2 stages, racking up some valuable stage points, and right now looking like they're going to finish inside of the top 5, top 10. Going to have some pretty maybe comfortable bubbles between themselves and the cut line going into the Martinsville-Talladega 1-2 punch, the final 2 races of this round of 8. Trey Whitehead's had a great night. Then a top 3 car pretty much the entire evening, has cashed in on stage points. Christian Ruse has finished top 10 in both the stages, right now in line for a top 5 run. Tom Bourne ended up getting some really good stage points back in stage 1, right now trying to hold on with those older tires in 6th. And Jeffrey Kleinsma too. Kleinsma did not cash in on stage points, but he's right now in line to finish in 7th place and might actually have enough laps to close up that 4.5-second gap between himself and Tom Bourne, maybe get that one position, that one extra point better. Drivers, though, that going into next week are going to find themselves really, I think, looking to survive more so than anything. Obviously, Noah Jackson, who's out of this race, but I think you could also throw Ryan Catalano and Peyton Holland, who are both currently trapped a lap down, into that conversation. Peyton Holland did get some stage points in stage 1. Catalano a 0 in the stage points column, and both those drivers, both those Toyota drivers, really going to be looking for a bounce back at Martinsville next week. But the tough thing, as I said, beginning of the night, is Martinsville, so close quarter racing, not a lot of room to be given. Talladega Superspeedway, close quarter racing, very spacious, but one mistake by a driver around you could cost you a good day. Those are 2 racetracks where, quite honestly, the fate of the driver is not necessarily in their own hands. You are relying on everybody else around you to be on their best behavior. This was the only track coming into this round of 8 where a driver could really, in a sense, control their own destiny, control their own finishing result. It's wildcard tracks for the final 2 races of this round of 8. And for Alan Dobbs, it's going to be a huge sigh of relief when he crosses the start-finish line here. If we run these final 5.5 laps under green, sees the checkered flag waving, knowing that going into both of those races, he could finish dead last in both of them, and he will be advancing to Homestead, Miami for the season finale and an opportunity at claiming the championship. And it's been a championship-type season here for Alan Dobbs as well. He leads the series in stage wins. He leads the series in victories. Leads the series in laps led. He has been a points accumulating machine here in 2025. Had a victory back in the round of 17 that locked him into the round of 8. Relied on points, stage points specifically, to lock him easily into this round of 8. And now looking to win his way into a ticket to the Final 4. This time by 3 laps to go for driver number 35 out of Whitehead Racing. Round of 12, a Whitehead Racing Toyota locked themselves into the next round in the first race of that round of the playoffs. Round of 8, it will be the same deal, but with a different driver, provided we don't see a caution here in these final 2 laps. This might be the fastest lap that Alan Dobbs puts down in the last 15 to 20 laps run, trying as quickly as he can to get back around, get that white flag displayed, and make this race official. Toyotas are going to sweep the podium positions here tonight, as there is the white flag over the hood of Alan Dobbs. One more time around the Phoenix Raceway. The duel in the desert seemed to be Alan Dobbs versus everybody else. As he swept the stages, he's led the most laps, and through 3 and 4 for the final time, Alan Dobbs will punch his ticket into the championship 4. He wins here tonight at Phoenix. 1 spot taken, 3 spots still remain. Martinsville and Talladega wait in the wings for their parts to play and who the remaining Championship 4 competitors will be. But Alan Dobbs knows that he'll be fighting for the title in 3 weeks' time as he gets it done here tonight in the desert. Teammate Trey Whitehead gonna pull up onto the back bumper, offering congratulations. Whitehead Racing first and third with Shane Thierry and last week's winner sandwiched in between for your podium finishers here tonight. Christian Ruse, a solid run inside of the top 5 with Tanner Marr bringing it home in the 5th position. The celebration begins for Alan Dobbs as he will go into Martinsville and Talladega worry-free, locking up a spot in the Championship 4. And let's take a look at how the rest of this race shaped up for the rest of the playoff contenders. So playoff drivers first, third, and fourth. Inside of the top 5, Tom Bourne, good run there. Tires held on to get him 6th. Jeffrey Kleinsma will finish in 7th. And those were the drivers, the playoff contenders that finished inside of the top 10. As was non-playoff drivers 8th through 10th with Chris Mackey, Matthew Rodriguez, and Matt Davies. So Dobbs is locked in. Whitehead, Ruse, Bourne, Kleinsma, they will be fighting for just above the cut line, whereas behind them, Ryan Catalano, who finished 12th, Peyton Holland, who finished 14th, they will more than likely be below the cut line. We'll have to wait and see just by how much. And then Noah Jackson, who finished 20th, dead last here tonight. He will be going into Martinsville next week at a huge points deficit. Can he make that up between Martinsville and Talladega? Cody Gibson, 13th in his debut here tonight. Larry Bell just outside of the top 10 as well. Brock Whitehead ran into some trouble second half of this race, multiple laps down, but did finish this race under power. Last car running in 15th, and then 5 drivers did not reach the conclusion. Matt Mettler, Jonathan Cogswell, Patrick McQuaid, Chris Hubka, and the aforementioned Noah Jackson. So Martinsville will be next week as we head into the brand new month of October. Short track racing in Martinsville, Virginia should be an interesting one to see if another playoff driver locks themselves into the Championship 4, or will it really come down to points when we head into the elimination race at Talladega Superspeedway. That's going to take us into our FRN post-race wind-down. Let's see if we can dial up some of our podium finishers here tonight, see what their opinions were of tonight's very interesting race. Pretty calm at the beginning, a little chaotic in the middle, and then that long green flag run with the cycle of pit stops at the conclusion. Let's get a hold of the driver that brings it home P3 here tonight. Let's dial up Trey Whitehead. Hey Trey, it's Seth up here in the FRN booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Man, a interesting race here tonight in the desert. We kind of saw maybe 3 different types of races at 3 different portions of this evening's festivities. The long green flag runs there in those first 2 stages, making track position and tires so important on the long run. Little bit of chaos there, some multiple cautions when we enter into the second half of this race, but then the long green flag run at the end and some varying strategies of when to come down, take advantage with those fresh tires. You were up inside the top 3 all night long. How much changing of the strategy took place as things kind of happened, or was basically the game plan coming into tonight executed the way you wanted?
Yeah, well, I'm going to apologize in advance. I'm starting to get a little sick on myself. So, yeah, I mean, we qualified really bad. I just didn't expect it to be that bad, and just had to work our way through and really figure the right front out because it was wearing really, really bad. And I knew that we were going to try to save an extra set because sometimes these races come down to late race restarts. And I thought we executed really well. We got seventh in the first stage, and then second in the second stage, and finished third. So I mean, really good points day for us. I just want to congratulate Alan as well for getting Whitehead Racing our 20th win total since becoming a team. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, the strategy kind of stayed the same for us. We just had to change the way that we drove based on the numbers that we got on our first pit stop with our right front and everything. So
I harkened back to the first race in the round of 12. You were able to win at the Atlanta Superspeedway, which then had you locked into the next round regardless of two very difficult racetracks, the Charlotte Roval and Auto Club Speedway. Looking at this round of 8, Phoenix tonight, Martinsville next week, Talladega for the final elimination race. How much for you personally, and how much of a sense did you maybe get from the other playoff drivers here tonight as well, with this being basically the only driver's racetrack in this round of 8? How much of the mentality, how much of the energy in the field felt like a lot of drivers were treating this as a must-win situation with the two wildcard tracks on the horizon?
I mean, even the non-playoff guys were having some hot tempers. I mean, it was just a different attitude tonight. I think guys just want to go into Talladega being safe because you're not safe at that track at all. So, yeah, I definitely felt that pick up. Brock and Tom had their exchange, and we're trying to calm Brock down over here, but he's young. He's trying to race really hard, even though he's not in the playoffs. He's racing for wins and everything. So he's unapologetic about that as well, and that's just how he is. So I definitely saw, I think, a couple more playful skirmishes. I think I heard Matthew and Roos bantering a little bit, and as Kleinsma as well at the end of that race. It was fun to listen to. So, but yeah, the attitude for sure. I mean, it was go from lap one, and you could definitely feel that because guys just want to be safe, like I said, in a good position going into Talladega because you never know what happens.
So I noticed that you talk more about Talladega than Martinsville, with a third place run tonight, cashing in on some valuable stage points. Is Martinsville a track that you kind of feel comfortable at to maybe build on this advantage for Talladega, or am I kind of maybe selling this a little short of how much of a wild card track Martinsville could possibly be?
No, you're definitely not selling it short. And hopefully we do get to race there because I think they voted maybe to change the track, but TBD on that. Yeah, I mean, if it's Martinsville, we've had good runs there, but obviously anything can happen there as well. I've won a few races there, but I've also finished last because I just got caught up in accidents. And yeah, I mean, it's a big wild card. I guess I'm not really overlooking it. I just feel more comfortable at Martinsville than I do at Talladega, just the way that I drive and my racecraft and everything. So yeah, I mean, we're definitely looking forward to next week. Hopefully it's Martinsville or whatever track it ends up being. Yeah, I mean, we're looking forward to it, but obviously, like I was saying, Talladega is like the big wild card, and then you have some guys that's their strength, and that's what they're looking forward to. But 90% of the field tonight was trying to get really good finishes and build up a lot of points for next week. So,
Well, with those two tough tracks on the horizon, great run for you here tonight to kick off the round of 8, third place performance here in the desert at Phoenix. Congratulations on the job well done. Before we let you go, Trey, we'll open up the floor to you for thank you sponsors and shout-outs.
yeah, I had Blue Buffalo back on the car. I missed last week's race because my dog actually ended up ripping her toe off, so I left work early and we took her to the ER, and she's good now. A lot of money later, but we're glad to have her back, and she's recovering. So had her and my other puppy on the car tonight. Glad to be able to put it up because I don't think we've had good luck with this car. So we had a good finish with it. Obviously, want to thank Alan. Like I was saying, 20th win for Whitehead Racing since we became a team about a year and a half ago. It's really cool to see, and it's been all in this league. So a lot of guys have contributed to that. So we'll be putting out a graphic sometime later this week to commemorate all those guys that have contributed to this team. And you guys for putting the league on. I mean, not putting the league on, putting the broadcast on. Hubka for putting the league on. All the admins. Every team owner, honestly, because without teams, I think this would be a little bit of a different atmosphere. Everybody racing for themselves. So I like the team aspect of it. And yeah, everybody for having a really clean race tonight. I thought it was a really fun race to do and a lot of tire wear. And you saw that. You saw comers and goers. And luckily we were one of those comers. So it was great.
Yeah, we definitely did see that the tire wear played a huge factor into the outcome of this race. That made things interesting in the battle for those stage points as well in the first half of this one. Trey, congratulations on the great run here tonight. Wish you the best of luck in Martinsville and Talladega going forward as you look to, if not win your way, point your way into a championship for berth. And congratulations on the great run here tonight.
Yeah, appreciate it. Hopefully, I'm feeling better next week.
Absolutely. That's Trey Whitehead, brings it home P3 this evening at Phoenix. Let's see if we can dial up the driver that was in victory lane last week. Comes up just one spot short here tonight. Runner-up finisher, Shane Terrian. Hey Shane, it's Seth up here in the FRM booth. You got a copy?
What's up?
Well, it certainly seemed like tonight tires were the big talking point, especially as we got close to the end of this race. We weren't exactly sure what the fuel window was, but it kind of seemed like that was probably going to be a bit of a moot point. The Goodyear rubber was going to be the main difference maker. You rolled the dice. You tried the undercut strategy. You had a good advantage once everything cycled around, but just was it just too difficult to be able to maintain that pace? The tires wearing down too much to keep the 35 at bay?
Yeah, I was kind of hoping for a caution. I don't like this track. I'm not good here. I mean, I say that finishing second, but uh, clean air is key. I tried to slow it down when I got it, but he was just so good on entry. There was nothing I could do. I think even on even tires, that man was gonna just destroy me in the corners. So I'll just take a second, especially after spinning him out earlier on accident.
It was interesting. I was talking just moments ago with Trey White, and he said he kind of got the sense with a lot of the playoff drivers that a lot of them were desperate to get stage points here this evening. We saw some really aggressive racing all the way through the top 10, even back through the top 15. A non-playoff driver coming into this one, what kind of energy were you feeling out there? How difficult was it to kind of gauge who was basically trying to really force the issue and who maybe was maybe a little bit more chill, a little bit more relaxed since they weren't in the hunt for a championship anymore?
Uh, I don't even know. Honestly, this race wore me out. I'm not gonna lie. So I'm a little zoned out. But I don't know. I made the comment to Matt Rado that there's a lot of animosity in this league. I don't know what's going on. I don't know who I should race hard, who I should not race hard. I didn't want to cause any problems, but yeah, I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm a little out of it here, Seth. I'm tired.
Hey, no problem, no problem.
Even though I race on a controller, I'm tired.
So you say you don't really care for this racetrack. We do have Martinsville coming up. We got Talladega, Homestead. Any of those racetracks, maybe all three that you're looking forward to here? Get a break from Phoenix?
I honestly haven't touched Martinsville in anything in 2 years because leagues tend to avoid that track like the plague. So I got nothing. I mean, I guess the next two tracks, yeah, I can actually make the rest of the season, luckily, until my new league starts back up, which is nice. So hopefully I can keep finishing or winning. I want to keep winning. That's the main reason why I'm here, is to have some fun and win, and hopefully not cause any problems. But definitely the tracks after Martinsville I'm looking forward to. But Martinsville I'm going to probably cry.
Well, Shane, congratulations on the great run here tonight. Able to hang on for second place this evening off the heels of your victory last week at Auto Club. Pretty good average finish here in your first two starts in the Grind Cup Series. Looking forward to seeing what you can do next week when we get to that paperclip short track at Martinsville. But before we let you go, we'll give you the opportunity here for some thank you sponsors and shoutouts.
Yeah, I mean, Matt Rupp hanging out with me in the race. Tom was there for a little bit. And then my Elwood Designs team that I run with majority now, and then Alan for painting my cars, Nico as well, and Sim Rap Market is that's on my car for the team as well, and then you for broadcasting. So I'm gonna have to go back and watch. I heard you were solo tonight, but I know, knowing you from all these years, you can still put on a show.
Yeah, we're hoping that Scott feels better and is able to join me in the booth here for Martinsville. But a wild race here tonight. Congratulations on surviving all the chaos, bringing it home on the podium. Go take a break. Go get some rest.
Thank you.
Shane Terrian bringing it home P2 here tonight. And let's see if we can go down to victory lane, dial up the first of our Championship 4 drivers, Alan Dobbs. Hey, Alan, it's Seth up here in the FRN booth. Got a copy?
Yeah, I got you, buddy.
Well, man, I'll tell you what. Gotta be a combination of feelings when you cross the start-finish line here tonight. Elation for picking up yet another win, but maybe a sense of relief as well, knowing that Martinsville and Talladega. I remember when I talked to you back at the end of the regular season, you looked down the list, you're like, I don't know about Talladega or its position. You don't have to worry about it now. You're locked into Homestead, Miami in the championship 4.
I'm so excited about it. It's great, to be honest, to not have to worry about those two tracks because, I mean, you got the shortest who knows who's going to win track and the biggest who knows who's going to win track, and all sorts of craziness all in the middle of both of those. So, yeah, pretty much I can just go, try to try to win. I definitely want to continue trying to win. Try to help my teammates out, try to get the top 4. Noah had he had computer froze up on him or something. So he's got his work cut out for him. So we definitely, gonna circle Talladega there and see if we can't help him out.
Yeah, we were trying to figure out what the issue was there. I thought by the look of it, it had something to do with hardware, and obviously you give us that confirmation on that. It will be interesting to see what he's able to do in these final 2 races of this round of 8. Looking at tonight, you had a really strong car. You had incredible pace. Lap times were super consistent. You were able to sweep the stages. But then I want to talk about that portion of the race where some drivers just prior to the completion of stage 2, they flipped the stage. They came down pit road. You restarted back around the 7th, 8th position. Had to really use some patience in working your way through there. How difficult was that with the varying difference of tires? Because from what I've heard here from both Trey and Shane, this track was not very friendly to the Goodyears on the long run.
Yeah, there was a lot of fall off, and I know after that first run, pretty much everybody on my team was calling out, like single digits or in the teens for their right front. And, I didn't have that trouble. I think I finished the first stage with like 60% left, but I had clean air on that, so that makes a huge difference. So yeah, when I got put back there, and I think it was 9th or 10th where I restarted the first time. Um, it was a weird feeling because like I hadn't been in traffic, and I know that my pace has been quite a bit faster than everyone. So I was trying to just figure out, when do I need to lift and brake, and like where are they going to be lifting and braking. I really didn't want to run anybody over, and end up getting a penalty.
Yeah, you
Here
mentioned
at the
it.
end of the playoffs. Sorry.
No, I'm sorry. Didn't mean to cut you off. My bad.
That's all right. I was gonna say, yeah, like I think we made it up to like 5th there, and then me and Shane got together, and just really fortunate for both of us. No one ran us over, and we didn't hit any walls. It didn't come out with any major damage. I don't know what his car was like, but I had like 6 seconds, and it didn't really seem to affect me. He apologized for that, so no hard feelings there.
Yeah, definitely dodge a bullet there and able to work your way eventually back up to the race lead after that cycle of pit stops. Congratulations on advancing your way into the championship 4, able to go into Martinsville and Talladega worry-free, knowing that in a couple weeks' time when we get to Homestead Miami Speedway, you're going to be in the hunt for the championship in the finale here for the Grind Cup Series. We'll let you get back to your celebrating here in the desert in just a moment, but first we're going to hand the mic over to for Victory Lane. Thank you, sponsors, and shout-outs, Alan.
Appreciate it. First, just shout out to my beautiful wife as always. All the guys at Whitehead Racing. This was our 20th win for their organization, so really proud that I could bring that home for them. Shout out to Tier 1 Racing, Redline Racing Network, you guys for the broadcast, the admins here, all the guys that race. Great race tonight, by the way. Lots of green flag laps. Not a lot of cautions. That was a ton of fun. So shout out to everybody that participated.
Alan Dobbs, he's locked himself into the championship 4 with his victory here tonight at Phoenix. Congratulations once again. Best of luck here as you try and build some momentum in these final 2 races before we get to that finale at Martinsville and Talladega. Maybe get another win or 2 before we get to that season finale. Best of luck there.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it. Y'all have a good one.
Alan Dobbs, the winner here tonight at Phoenix, punches his ticket into the championship 4 at Homestead Miami Speedway in a couple of weeks' time. Martinsville on the horizon, and this is what the scenario looks like going into that short track race. Again, tremendous credit and thanks to Trey Whitehead, who's had this playoff graph ready for us during the course of this postseason. So Dobbs locked in. 3 spots still remain. Right now, Trey Whitehead occupies the 2nd spot, 17 points ahead of the cut line. So the good finish and those stage points really paying dividends for him going into Martinsville. Tom Bourne able to fight back for 6th, sits 3rd in the standings, 8 points above the cut line. And then it gets really interesting. Christian Ruse right now in the 4th position, just above the cut line, but by 1 point. 1 point below, Peyton Holland in 5th. Jeffrey Kleinsma sits 6th. He's only 3 points back. Ryan Catalano, if he had gotten the stage points tonight, might be a different scenario, but he's 11 points back in 7th. And Noah Jackson, who we heard had the hardware issue, dead last tonight. He'll be going into Martinsville sitting 8th of the 8 playoff drivers, 19 points out. 2 races, Martinsville and Talladega, to try and get those points back, try and get above the cut line, and advance into the championship 4 at the Homestead Miami Speedway. We heard from Trey Whitehead, we heard from Shane Tyrion, a little bit of chirpiness. We saw some sheet metal exchanged on the racetrack. We're going to Martinsville next week. Short tracks breed short tempers, and some stuff might be rolling over from tonight. We'll have to wait and see. We thought that Bristol was the last great Coliseum. Martinsville might say, hold on just a second, I'm going to be a battleground as well, and it's right in the middle of a pivotal moment in the playoffs. We'll have to see how that all pans out. We thank you all for tuning into our coverage here tonight from Phoenix. Alan Dobbs has locked himself into the championship 4. We'll see you guys at Martinsville next Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Be sure to join us for that as we continue on the 2025 playoffs for the ESports Oval League Grind Cup Series. I've been Seth Cole, and you've been watching another broadcast courtesy of FRN, the Flatout Racing Network.
This broadcast is the copyrighted work of Flatout Racing Network and may not be rebroadcast, retranslated, or used in any form without the express written consent of Flatout Racing Network and iRacing.com Motorsports Simulations. Flatout Racing Network would like to thank you for your support, and we hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast.